Okay, so you're listening to episode 3 of Water on the Dipstick. Today we're going to try to talk about the C8 Corvette, but inevitably spend a lot of time talking about electric cars.
Did we not talk about the C8 Corvette
that's episode
for the
1.
first episode?
That was literally a synopsis of episode 1.
That was the joke.
Okay, I mean, it did, but it also worried me. I thought we were going to repeat the whole conversation.
Just talk about it again.
So,
in case you missed episode 1, we'll recap that in episode 3.
And if you have heard it, go listen to it.
In episode 4 will be recapped in episode 2, so prepare yourselves.
Both will be 3-hour rehashings of an hour-long podcast. Enjoy.
Okay, so I do have two things tonight, and I thought I would put it up to y'all. Maybe we can hit both a little bit. In all seriousness, I did want to borrow from last time's format because I have a different version that I think would be fun to do. Okay. And this one actually would be fun because I think we could do it in real life. Because it doesn't involve buying a $400,000 car. But we can get to that later. As far as an upfront topic, I, at one point during the day, found myself on Ford's website. I was looking at all the different cars that I can't afford to build, and I noticed
as
literally everything.
Okay.
If it's not a Maverick, then I'm pretty much out.
Even the Maverick is steep. Once you get it where you want it, you're like, ah.
You know, it's about 10% grade. Yeah. So, I was looking at all the different options, and I noticed that it feels like to me, and I kind of tried a different website or two just to see, it seems like there's a lot less... There are much fewer bespoke options when you build in price, and that's not necessarily true of the new Bronco because there's like 800 versions out. But it does seem like, and I had noticed this about something else, like because car companies are always going through changes, and they'll kind of get bloated on what they offer, and then they'll kind of consolidate. Like one of the things one of the things that Ford has done recently is consolidate the car line to nothing but hatchbacks. Like the only thing that's considered a car that Ford manufactures right now is, of course, the Mustang. And even among it, I mean, you've got the
Mach-E.
Well, that's not a Mustang. And that's funny enough. They know it's not a Mustang because when you go to pick under cars to build in price, it's not an option. You have to go under crossovers and SUVs.
See.
Yeah, they know. But
marketing doesn't know.
Yeah. But even among, so there's currently a Mach 1. Actually, it's kind of it's a robust year, I guess, for Mustang. There's a GT Premium, there's a Mach 1, there's a GT 500. So they've got a couple of things. But looking at like the different truck options and stuff like that, it really seems like there's not a lot of... It seems like there's fewer features to choose from.
The dealer options are actually more exciting to me.
Okay. So
like if you go to a dealer and you order, some of them have... there's some that'll do the two-tone paint jobs like the 1990s Ford trucks, and they'll put KC lights on it.
Oh. Which
is super cool. It's a retro package.
Well, then that kind of answers it. Because my question, and I do genuinely mean this as a question, as much as we can formulate one for something so unscientific and subjective as I went on Ford's website today. I was going to ask, do you all think that it's because of... Is it a supply chain thing? Or is it the new... our cars really homogenizing that much? And is that where we're headed? Or are they just consolidating and will it get kind of bloated again here soon? Because one thing that's really, really true, if we are, I don't know who all thought this, but when we talked about electric cars, if the assumption is correct that it's going to move towards that being most of what's on the road, there's just, like, essentially, it's how do you want to be oriented in the car and how much cargo space do you want? Like, there's just not a lot of variability for a manufacturer to chase after, right? Because it's all going to be the same EV platform generally. I mean, that's what GM's doing, is literally like the same EV platform for all the stuff. And
yeah, the only thing you get powertrain wise would be a dual motor versus a single, versus if it has the option for 3.
Right.
Like that's not that many choices compared to what you have now.
Right. So, I mean, what do? You've got, okay, this is our electric car with 4 doors and a trunk. This is our electric car with 4 doors and a hatch. This is our electric truck. This is our electric SUV. Like, it's like, what do you?
It's all the same thing.
Yeah,
It all has
just,
the same specs, maybe a different size battery pack, but you're
Yeah.
just selling a shape.
yeah. Is that what? I don't know. Thoughts?
I'd like to think things aren't moving that quickly in that direction, partially because I see things being kept alive, even if it's in a transition phase. I know I've beat this like a dead horse. That's a thing people say. But like the hybridization of the Mustang, everyone thought they would get rid of the V8, but they're not. They're pairing the Coyote with an electric motor. So that'll be pretty cool, honestly. Because then you'll get the torque curve of an electric motor, or most electric motors. I mean, because like, we don't even talk about if they're alternating or direct current, because there's so many different types of motors out there. Tesla's really just sort of paved the way with their technology, though, and the fact that I don't even truly know what this is, but apparently the part on the motor called the squirrel cage can spin a lot faster. That might be electric motor slang for all I know. But
we squirrel powered cars out.
yeah, we do.
We've known that all along.
But it allows it to turn like 19,000 RPM. It's just the fact that you can get that many revolutions, whereas a lot of them would redline. I know they don't redline, but for the sake of just talking about it like it's an engine, it's like 9,000, 8,000 RPM. And just how fast you can spin it is going to determine your top speed and your horsepower at some point, because that's the RPMs of that thing,
right.
the revolutions it's making.
It's horsepower work over time.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Zach?
I don't know. Unfortunately, I'd say there's a bunch of people that already look at cars that way, so it won't affect them.
That's true.
Yeah. It doesn't matter, does it?
They don't care right now. They're saying, well, I need this to get the family around, or I need a truck so I can haul this and that, and so be it. They don't really care. They're looking for the shape. So for those people, I don't think it really matters that much. But it would be sad to see the options go. I mean, it's always makes it interesting for us enthusiasts to have something that's like, oh, that's really cool. That's a neat little feature that only this model has.
Yeah, and that kind of borrows some. I mean, historically, you go back far enough in time, and there's a stretch in automotive history. Not that it's not necessarily true now too, but there's a stretch in automotive history where very few paint options repeat from year to year, and a big part of that is like there was just not a lot of delineation from one year model to the next for certain stretches in the history of car manufacturing, and really one of the only ways you can generate a new demand is, it's like, well, you can only have this color if you bought this year's car,
Yeah.
And we laugh, but then I feel like we kind of fall victim to that. We hit troughs where we have lots of big jumps. I feel like we're in a big jump right now, but then there's kind of stretches,
We say that, but like, if you look at the whole scope of the automobile, if the rotary would have actually taken off and not had so many apex seal failures, would it have been what replaced the quote-unquote traditional internal combustion engine, still being an internal combustion engine, but just of a different type? Because everyone thought it was the answer in the 80s and the 90s, to the point where they had bought into it. Ford had to buy the rights to work with it. GM was doing a mid-engine Corvette in the 70s that had a 4-rotor in it. I think it's a 4-rotor. Could have been a 2-rotor.
Gosh,
and that would have been wicked and wild, but it just wasn't feasible for anyone but NSU, who worked with the Wankel rotary, and then Mazda, who actually made it a mainstay in their sports cars. Not to play like a different angle on all this, but like, the car has changed significantly over time, and it's wild to think that since the Benz carriage, like for Carl Benz to have built that motorized carriage, the formula of what powers the thing has not changed, although it picked up more cylinders, and it went to direct injection as opposed to I don't know, an updraft carburetor or whatever was on it. It's just, I don't know. I think the change would have come sooner because everything else, like look at technology in your phones to your laptops and everything, getting smaller and faster, and the demand is just there.
It is funny to think about because I feel myself pinned between two truths. Um, on the one on the one hand, I look at it and go, okay, we're working with these really fluid shapes in cars, and we're looking kind of futuristic, but
Unless you're Porsche, keep the same design, and
which
it's
we know they're the best. So,
pretty timeless. Yeah,
right.
we like them a lot. We're pretty biased.
But then you go back through history, and you can so clearly walk through the decades in your head, right? So you have these 5 window coupes in the 30s and even 40s, like you can kind of picture that, and then you start to come in to the
Thunderbirds
50s.
in the 50s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you're
you've got
sticking with
these.
the Ford theme.
Yeah, and then you've got these, or even the GM stuff. You've got these long rectangular
Impalas.
Yeah,
They've
big
got this
fins too.
big because
fins.
it's supposed to look like what it was spaceship design, but it was kind of that
Speaking of
Lovecraftian.
the Chrysler turbine car, like some people
Yeah.
took it to the extreme, and it was amazing.
right.
Too bad we didn't go to jet fuel for our
Really.
common fueling system.
Well,
Great in current economy, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Jet fuel's not pricey.
Well, the problem with jet fuel is that it can't melt steel beams, but
We won't get into that.
it can weaken it. I'm not actually. I don't find that stuff. But anyways, yeah. But then okay, so you go to the '60s, and well, the Corvette's kind of it stays really pretty and kind of has some European flair to it, right? Because I'm looking at what looks like it's a C2 obviously on the wall, and you can see. I'm not saying who came first. I'm just saying that has more in common with a Jaguar or a Ferrari of that era than it does a Camaro.
It's supposed to be Americans. Americans wrong. America's sports car.
Right.
And we didn't have one technically at the time.
And so you've got the Corvette kind of stands alone. But then you look at, I mean, everything from a Charger, a Duster, kind of the Mustang. It was a little softer on the edges, but I mean, you can just walk through it. The '70s, we just won't talk about.
It was a response to a crisis.
Yeah.
Everyone sees it that way. Everyone
was
should see it that way.
It was its own crisis.
It was.
The '80s are boxy, and we have these really like low power electronics. Like they don't have a lot of.
Till you look at rally influence in the '80s, when you talk about
That's true.
squared off fenders, and you talk about really cool, just like wild wings you didn't think would be on a commuter car, honestly. So I'm thinking across the pond, like the Cosworths. Oh yeah, the Quattro definitely. But anytime you look at some of the Ford, I can't remember which one it is. And I'll get railed for this, but one of the Cosworth models had like that weird whale tail looking thing.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
I think it's nice.
Was that the 80s though, or was that 90s?
Might have been the 90s. But all I'm getting at is rally influence, 1980s, 1990s. Group B rally was insane to the point where it just got called off because it got too wild.
Yeah. And then the '90s, you get the kind of the round, bulbous, like kind of weird. And then
it was the spaceship car, honestly. It was like we're approaching the 2000s, so everyone's trying to round it off. If you've ever seen the concept car for the SM95, it's rounder than the production car was ever going to be, which is sort of wild to me because it's one of the most rounded Mustangs. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't work out.
It's all right. Nothing can beat a Catfish Camaro's round mouth.
Man.
It's just the perfect oval right out in front.
And I don't know what it is about slapping a Pontiac sticker on a Catfish Camaro that makes me like them, though. Well, of course, a WS6 has different ground effects and stuff, but...
And then there's the fact it's a Holden on some levels when you start going down the line and you say, I like the Pontiac GTO, and you're like, yeah, the Australians really, they do a good job with that.
Man, that's a cool car. Well, I mean, but that's been like, Chevrolet's been kind of sneakily, not even sneakily, Chevrolet's been doing that for, well, then and onward. It's like, hey, let's just put this unbelievably successful, unbelievably well-engineered
platform on our soil.
Yeah, let's just put it in
Everyone
everything.
does it, though. I mean, not the Mustang, that's scary. The Taurus, stealing the looks from the Jags when Ford owned Jag and Aston Martin at the same time, and they just, like, this looks great.
It's an Aston
Let's
Martin.
let's make our sedans look like this.
I mean, from a performance perspective, I mean,
That's fair.
You know, Chevrolet's got this great thing going where they're like, yeah, we're just gonna drop this really small footprint, you know, high efficiency V8, power efficiency, not necessarily fuel efficiency. You know, or at least cheap power. You know, it's like we're gonna put it in a GTO. We're gonna put it in I thought a Cadillac. You know, you put it in a truck. I mean, you know, it's just
Versatility was key to making that
Man.
a cheap power plant. Corvettes to trucks, like
of course
it's
that.
amazing.
To be fair, Ford kind of put their money where their mouth is. There was a 5.4 in an F-150, and there was a 5.4 in the GT. I mean, you know, and obviously
Yeah.
they're not the same motor.
Unless
But-
you're getting a 0304 Lightning, then they're more similar than anyone would want to believe,
Yes.
which is awesome.
Why even detune them, Ford? But they, I guess, okay, so this is what I was getting at all along. So we just did, in this exercise, walk through the decades, and we can see how we keep moving into new eras of aesthetic. Maybe it's just because I've been so hyper aware since the 2010s. But we hit the retro resurgence in 05, right? And Ford kind of leads the way, and we get a lot of cool cars out of it. But it feels like, to me, 05 onward, we're now approaching 16 years of refining the retro resurgence.
You think it's still there?
Okay, so here's
Because
the,
the
Dodge
S-
certainly.
That's
still
yes,
is
That's
doing it.
exactly.
Okay, that's fair. I'm
Challenger,
getting too pinpointed.
Charger.
The Camaro,
Camaro
was never retro resurgence in my opinion. The whole nameplate coming
2000
back was, but 2010.
2010 to like 2014 was a pretty good retrofit of the Camaro, but
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. They never really hit the nail on the head like the Challenger and the Mustang. But
the Z28 did pretty good when it
13,
came back.
14, yeah,
That's
it
what I'm
did.
saying.
Yeah, no, that's great.
That one was.
But after that, it started to go so.
It
They
did the
just
same
they
thing
lost
for
their
Mustang.
way
It went.
in design.
It went too far futuristic now.
But what's weird is people will still buy the Mustangs the way they look.
That's true.
People won't buy because the big lower grill on the Camaro is just massive. It's
What
a
I'm hearing is
design
Chevrolet has a
flaw.
problem with front ends. I don't know. Don't know how to make a grill.
I've got a problem with my back end, but that's a whole nother podcast.
you should write to Chevrolet.
Yeah, I will. Sir,
Cut
I
down
would
on
have
the backfire.
I would have you know. So yeah, and so we look at that, and I guess again, I don't know what it is, because it's a totally valid argument that, that a lot of it could just be the I'm paying more attention now, and the nuance is lost because I'm here to see it come 1 year at a time versus
Right.
getting to jump from the 50s to the 90s in 3 minutes. Are we
While just glossing over a lot of really great cars.
right? Are what if we continue to homogenize? Okay, so looking at the SA30 on the wall, it looks. Now, granted, back the S.
It's S197 still.
But the S550 did pull some cues from an SN95. I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, in my mind, that looks more like an S550 than it does an SN95. To me. Despite that being.
Or the S550 looks more like it. Or it still looks more like the 95 with inspiration from that.
I'm sorry, that's what I mean. Because that is, by years, could be closer to an SN95 than it is an S550.
Right.
But it looks more like an S550.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I'm.
Because it's the transition, you
Yeah.
know.
Very much.
They did the restyling in 2010, and then it started to just look more round, and they started massaging it. I think it sort of led people to what is the 2015 Mustang look. To where it wasn't just a shock, because if it stayed like mine and Zach's cars, just square all the way around, no soft edges for the most part,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you get this sort of Ford Fusion-y looking front end. The rest of the car looks pretty phenomenal. I still can't get over the front ends. They look better on some, like the Roush and the Saleen models, and the GT350 and the 500.
Even the 18 looks better.
Well, that's because they did the front end refresh.
I know.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. They improved on it.
yeah,
They heard the backlash somewhat.
yeah, they did. Because of this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
In
our
the
one
future.
listener.
Right. Not to mention that happened years ago, and we're sitting here
Yeah.
now.
It's only 4
Doesn't
years in the
matter.
future.
Doesn't matter.
Time traveling's real.
Um,
Sorry, you were going somewhere with that, and I absolutely just yanked the carpet out from underneath you.
That really is. That was the whole thing. Is like even walking through the Camaro, like you have this wild streak in the '90s, and then everything is kind of a more pure form there that's kind of working itself out, and you know something else that matters a great deal. The one thing that never changed with the resurgence is they just look fatter.
Well, because they
But it's
had
it's
to be.
safety stuff. I get it.
Yeah.
It's crash ratings and stuff. But you look at everyone's like, the Challenger came the closest to being dimensionally proportional to the original Challenger.
just because the old ones were so big. If you ever seen them in a
Yeah.
car show, you're
But
like, whoa.
There's something about how their lines tuck up under the car. There's something about how the front end comes to a point. Like you look at one, and if you're a car enthusiast, like my wife, she couldn't tell you. We'd do good if she could tell you what color it was. She's so unaware of. But it's like to me, it always struck me. Everyone's like, it looks exactly the same. Like it looks nothing like exactly the same. It's a really, really good homage. But the safety thing, you never have. There's just something about how cars in the bygone era come to a point. I don't know. I don't know how else to describe it. The proportions are different.
Yeah, it's wild. So do you think manufacturers overall are moving, and this was my biggest concern, because I wanted to draw cars coming out of high school, did never one, but I don't know, you spend enough time doing it, and you look at how designers shape cars, and you notice it's around one basic design concept. How slippery can it be? What is the drag coefficient? And we have to keep these certain cues. If it's a Mustang, we keep a horse in the grill. We keep the tri-tail lights in the back. If it's a Camaro, then you need to put a bow tie on it somewhere, and you might want to try to integrate some older style tail lights. But it's at least going to have some fin work on it, probably in front of the, or I guess behind the door at the front of the quarter.
Front of the rear wheel.
You know what? That's that right there. Now we've come to the precipice of this conversation. We are 70 years deep in this experiment in domestic performance, right? I know we're a little further, but we've fancied ourselves scientific for, 80 years, right around. We know so much of how we design now is just empirically known beforehand.
Yeah, the wind tunnel decided.
Right.
Not a designer, not someone saying, that looks good.
And what happened in the past was we would try things and they would work out. And it was this very rudimentary, scientific method where essentially through accident and trial and error, we would find things that worked. And now it's not that way. Now we model it and we run simulations. We run accurate simulations digitally. We never have to build the physical example to put in the wind tunnel.
It's just sad because what really gets designers believing in a car is standing next to the shape and being like, we should actually build this. There's something about seeing it in front of you and being able to scale it with your eyes, like with natural light, and being able to feel it too. I've heard stories where guys will touch a clay model and they feel the lines on the car and they're like, this is it.
Huh.
This is the one. As opposed to just seeing a rendering. And I'm not trying to say that computers have ruined it. We've built some beautiful cars on a screen and then made them reality. It's just, I think it is sort of killing the design side of it.
Well, and I guess my question becomes, to borrow from last night, the Platonian ideal. Every version, there's a version of the Mustang that is just the most efficient as far as drag is concerned. There's the greatest version of the Camaro. There's the greatest version of the Corvette. There's the greatest version of the Charger. There's the greatest version of the Challenger. Once you arrive there, do you go backwards? I mean, you know what I mean?
But we say greatest version, and you had to define it. So you're talking about drag coefficient, but that doesn't necessarily it doesn't show up in sales. It doesn't have to reflect
true.
sales figures. It doesn't
That's
reflect
true.
people's interest in the car or necessarily its performance. It'll be slippery in one way, but will it have the lateral traction to back it up, or we have to work in a lot of systems to make it work?
That's true. That's a good point. But
Also, you should probably explain what the Platonian ideal is. Yeah, I
just that,
totally botched that.
well, in layman's terms, just that there's a what exists somewhere in the universe, whether natural or supernatural, is the perfect ideal of what something could be, and essentially a lot of times our perceptions and what we think of are imitations of that ideal. So if you imagine a chair, or every person who ever built a chair is imitating the ideal, even if it itself is not the ideal. Though I guess I'm kind of misusing that because the implications he intended are not the lowest drag coefficient Mustang, but let me just counterpoint because you have a really good point. But let me just counterpoint. I don't care what it would do to sales. A Corvette is never going to have headlights that stick out in fins in front of the bumper.
Yeah,
That's never coming back. You know what I mean? I mean,
that was an era thing.
yeah,
I think it's gone.
yeah. The
But you look at the competition, so the one I can think of off the top of my head, like a 55 Mercedes, the Gullwing, the SL300s, they look a lot, like, they don't obviously look exactly like that, but like the styling, the fin face, the fact that you've got, it's a teardrop shape as you go back, but it's got a lot of wind resistance in the front,
no,
but it looked good.
I think they look great. It's just that's I don't care what it would do for sales. That's never coming back.
You think well, okay. There's this though. The electric car is going to be overcome. It can overcome so much. I get that aerodynamics will matter at highway speeds, and that even then it's on the upper end. But so long as the highway speed is 70 or 75, it will not matter all that much in the grand scheme of things.
That's fair. But what we've and I'm may change, but what we've seen so far, no electric company is seeking to. I mean, antiquate themselves. I mean, they're all trying to design. Look how hideous.
It's the future.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look
they're
how
trying
hideous
to
the
paint it as the
Cybertruck
future.
is. That's the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
That's hilarious.
Indestructible windows.
Yeah.
The best thing that can happen regarding me and a Cybertruck is it running me over and killing me because I had to look at it.
It'll
Because
actually turn you into part of it,
so
and that's the
ugly.
curse of the Cybertruck.
Oh, it's so ugly. And I hope it's great. I hope Elon Musk gets to go to Mars or whatever the heck he's after. But I don't. I mean, I just don't. It's so ugly. But
Okay, so on the flip side, there's some people that really care about their heritage, and so the Nissan Z, the 2023,
Yes.
they took a 300Z, they took a 280 Datsun, they took a 350Z. Like, there's so many different angles you look at this car,
and
and
an
you,
R35 and an R. I'm just gonna.
they definitely did.
Um,
It's got a lot of good looks in it
looks so
without
good.
losing the DNA of what is a Z car.
Absolutely.
It looks so good. I just wish they'd put the mirrors on the hood.
Yeah, that'd
No,
be
I mean,
cool,
I'm
but we live in the U.S.
I'm dead serious. I wish they'd put the mirrors on the hood.
Oh, I've seen it.
There'll be a mod for it, and I'll be doing it. $10.
$10, tape them on,
Yeah.
duct tape.
Sound like Ford's way of putting hood scoops on.
Yikes, that hit home.
Okay, well that was some really intense car talk. So we're ready to go. We need one of those transitions. Where's my phone?
What was your pitch?
For the other half,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. That
Oh.
was really, really car heavy. So now
That's fine.
let's do car adjacent like last time.
I like that.
Okay.
Car adjacent is easy and soft.
Yeah, and we did it in the right order. People have to suffer through the intense car talk. Actually, no, just edit it in post, but leave this in so it's really, really
Confusing.
yes,
Disorienting.
yeah,
Discombobulating.
yeah, all those. Okay, this week's challenge: get Craigslist fired up. Okay, here it is, boys. We've got to put it in real life. So we're talking about right here, right now, for sale right here, right now. We're going end of January, coming into February. We're driving to Alaska.
Oh, I'm done. Good.
You have
Just go for it.
$5,000.
Yeah, I'm still done. Yeah.
You already have something.
Well, I've got some news, but it doesn't really like. I have a good friend who will remain unnamed because he doesn't even know about this podcast. Actually, no, I'll use his first name. You know Sean. Uh, Big Sean to Buff Sean. Sean.
Dang, where is this calling fat?
Definitely don't know. Oh!
Yeah.
That's Sean.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. There you
Yes,
go. Okay,
I do know.
there you go.
I do know.
So, like, yeah. He is
Crazy.
selling his parents' cars right now because he's repairing to sell their house.
Oh.
When he said I'm selling their cars, I was like, oh, that's cool. But he needed information like, can I sell a car without a title? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Just bill of sale. I mean, it's not going to be worth as much, but they're older cars anyways. I was like, just out of curiosity, because I had waited so long, because I didn't think, I thought they'd be Camrys. I was like, what are they?
Please be a Ranchero.
One of them was a 1997 Toyota pickup.
Ooh.
That's the
Nice.
indestructible thing. I'd be taking to Alaska because it has a camper top on the back and it has 120
It's already ready.
something
In
thousand
what
miles on it.
world are you only paying $5,000 for that?
Well, he's not asking. He's asking like 3. Do you want it? Because I mean, it's like
Yes.
it's for sale in real life. Is the thing. It
Are
doesn't
you
doesn't run. That's the catch.
Oh.
But it's the V6 one, like great power plant, and it's got a couple dents. It's not perfect.
Doesn't matter.
Anyways, the other car is an. Sorry, I will be done with this. Like,
No,
just-
you're good.
other car is an '84 Monte Carlo. He said '89. They stopped making them in '88, so maybe it's an '88. I'm saying '84. It's whatever. I haven't even seen pictures. And the last car I got no pictures of, but he told me there's one more car in there, so it's actually 4 cars. It's a mid-90s Chevrolet pickup, and then
A square body?
I guess, yeah, I don't know. Look up 1995 Chevrolet. If there's a body style change in there, I'm
90
sorry.
No,
I don't
95, I
know.
think would be. I think that would still be square. I think.
I did an 84 appraisal just a week ago, and that was square. So there you go. You ready?
10 years in the
But,
past.
okay, but the last car was the most exciting one. He said, hey, and then my dad, he'd been fixing these cars, driving them, and just flipping some here and there. He just liked to have them. His parents had passed, that's why he's selling them in the first place. But he said, well, it's a Camaro. And I was like, well, but like, what kind of Camaro? You can't just say so. He's like, well, it's like really rough. I don't know many people that would probably want this. I don't even know what his definition of really rough is, but I know it's in his garage. I said, Sean, like, tell me your buddy, is it a 60s Camaro? He said, I think it's a 67. And I was like,
How much does he
cool.
want?
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. So I'm going to go see this car. If you want to, like, go halvesy, then buy me out of it, I'd be happy. Because
Hey.
I know you want a 60s Camaro, and even if it's clap junk, it's one you can afford, which is getting harder and harder
Well, you know,
to get
as long,
into.
as long as it has a semi-decent body on it, that's all we need. We
I
can do
get it.
mechanical.
Superficial
Why would we need
man.
that?
He
We-
wants a body. See how it
I mean,
is.
that's what Bondo's for.
I love you, Dad. Yeah, we actually need something solid. But if it's missing the floors and has the roof,
It's all right,
the
we'll
quarters,
flintstone
and the... It doesn't even need the fenders. If it has that much, we're going
Worth it.
for it.
Okay, so
Sorry.
no, you can use
Back to
that
the
one.
cabin.
You can use that one, but I mean,
No, I'm gonna play the game. It's more fun.
Well,
Plus,
no, I mean,
love
that's-
geo trackers, so I'm gonna just figure out how to make that
Oh,
work.
okay.
okay, well, there you go. So you have $5,000 to get there.
Oh.
Oh, so
Oh.
not just for the car.
So gas, repairs, lodging,
Why would I ever repair something that cost me $800?
food. Yeah, I know that's the other thing is that like if you were just insane enough, you could just take Gary and just hope for the best.
I mean, I'm sure
It's cold enough; it wouldn't overheat.
far.
Yeah,
He doesn't overheat anymore. Is the problem though?
it's the problem.
You think I could
Stay hot enough.
afford the oil it would cost to drive to Washington?
No, you
I don't think you could afford the hospital bill when it just died because, because that's how that works. Well, Mr. Curtis,
Well,
you're dead. So
There's so much
mean-
just carbon monoxide being pumped into the cabin actively because the floor plugs aren't in it anymore. Last time we
It's-
drove it, my eyes watered, and I was
Speaking
like,
of-
I can't breathe.
speaking
That's
of,
your own problem.
I'm sure you're aware
You
of
gotta learn
this.
to like that smell.
I'm sure you're aware of this, but your exhaust pipe on Gary is on palliative care.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
hos-
see the
hospice
catalytic
has been
converter. It was removed by someone, but they left the housing, so they didn't really take the whole thing. They just took the platinum. Is that what they use?
I don't know.
I think it's platinum. It's not plutonium. That's what I almost said.
Pretty sure it's not that.
Adamantium.
That's right. Adamantium, vibranium.
How about the vibranium?
All right, so it's 5,000.
to
to
get
get
there.
there. But like
So-
you say, Alaska, what part? Anchorage? Like where's the dot?
Oh man.
Does it really matter, Eddie?
I
Are
don't
we
think it
making
matters.
it?
Yeah, I just think if you can cross the state line, you deserve to be acknowledged as completing the challenge.
At this point, I'm trying to find a small town in the contiguous United States called Alaska, and I'm gonna arrive there and call it good, good
I'm
enough.
glad that Alaska somehow is in the contiguous 48 now.
You just said it's a city.
Yeah, I'm saying
Called
I'm
that.
gonna find a small town
Oh.
named Alaska because you didn't care. So I was like,
Oh.
I'm just gonna drive to Alaska because it'll be closer here than I have to go through Canada.
Yeah, Canada. Okay. That is an important thing. We will assume we won't count like fees of like crossing the border because I don't even know what they would be anyways. So
I don't either because I'd probably just drive into the ocean and try to get around
I'd
that.
go around. Well, I'm pretty sure Canada won't let you in anyways because we're Americans.
Oh, God.
Nothing about
Not
COVID.
rich enough.
Yeah.
This is never getting sponsored, nor will there ever be a fourth episode.
First option: people want $50,000 for a 2015 Jeep. Well,
How
that's
do you
hilarious.
see that? Oh,
It's yeah.
it's the old privacy screen.
I didn't even mean to buy it. Funny enough.
What?
I
What do you
did not-
think, Zach? It's a Corvette. It's a C4. It could take you to Alaska.
It might.
Probably burn down. P.S. Blazer is not for sale. Well, that was the Alaska car I was really going to ask you about, Bill.
Price.
Should we get some elevator music going while this is just us staring?
Let's see. We'll try to talk through it.
So did you figure it would take roughly in gas? I mean,
So that's part of what we've got to do. So let me run it through maps right quick.
okay.
Hey Siri, take me to Alaska. Did you say?
Bake me in Alaskan?
Did you say Abe Lincoln?
No, I said...
Dang, this is so hardcore. Maps is having to load. Oh my gosh, it's showing the curve of the Earth.
That's beautiful. 2 days and 20 hours.
That's
There's
nothing.
no way we could do it. Tolls required. Is there any way to avoid that? No, there is not.
I thought we said we weren't counting that.
That's true. That's true.
I assumed that was part
We're
of
just
travel.
taking this to heart because we're actually paying for this at this point.
Yeah, we're going.
We
at
would
this
set
point.
aside the $5,000.
Episode 4 will be recorded in Anchorage.
Gosh, not anything along the way. Gosh, we've got to go through
Anchorage.
Minneapolis. Okay, so you have to plan to be robbed at some point.
So make sure you don't have any cash.
This cracked windshield gives me maximum survivability in the cold.
Yeah. Gosh. Okay, guys. So here's your number. It's where'd it go? So it's 3,600 miles. So you have to go cross-reference anticipated miles per gallon to get your gas number.
Wait, is how much? Sorry.
3,600 miles.
Yeah.
Is what we're going with.
Good grief.
Okay, hold on. So let's just see if this is even doable. So if you're getting
Gas is-
20 miles to the gallon, it's 180 gallons, which is what 350 right now. Oh yeah, so that's doable.
It's 3.
Okay, so yeah, it's doable. But if your gas mileage is low enough, that's going to start to make a sizable difference in your.
I know I jokingly said GeoTracker, but they get good gas
Did you
mileage.
find one? Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but that's okay. So this is part of the fun, though. So that's everything. So you'd have to sleep in a geo tracker.
Yeah, it's only like 2 days. 3 days.
I've done worse.
2 solid days of driving.
You're
so-
thinking of you versus me, also. If we're just being nice and fair.
Plus, I mean, a GeoTracker, you could just take the back seat out and have a blow-up mattress back there.
I don't think you all have ever seen a geo tracker before. in
I've
your-
actually driven one, so
You couldn't put a blow up mattress in the back.
I didn't say that. He did. I'm just saying I
I'm
could.
mad at you.
Yeah, you
I haven't
get
seen
mad.
one. I'm just throwing ideas
You've never
out.
seen a GeoTracker?
I've
How are
seen
you
one.
deprived
Okay.
so much?
My ex bought one.
Yeah, that's
Your
unfortunate.
Xbox one?
Yeah.
My plan.
Can I just drive my Jeep?
Do you think a Ranger with 275,000 miles on it is gonna make it?
No,
You're talking about
'cause I'm
squirrel power for the squirrel cage and the electric motor.
I'm buying it first. Well, here's one with
Wait, is it this one?
Here's one with 1,000,000 miles, so I'll buy that one instead.
I'm gonna bust this conversation
I wonder what
wide
the.
open.
I wonder what the
Why is no one
gas
looking at
mileage is
Suzuki
on a 94
Samurai?
Ranger.
Oh my gosh, here's a lowered Ranger on some rent-a-wheel 12 spokes. Oh, this is it. It's in Rockford. Yeah, this is what I need.
This is a
Samurai.
stick.
This is a sick.
Slammed automatic Ford Ranger short bed extended cab.
Dude, I don't know what it was about the 90s.
Has a blown head gasket and he wants how much?
That's nothing. You just pour some more oil in, keep going.
You know, not coolant either, because that's what's seeping into the combustion chamber.
4-door S10, but it's $5,000, so it has to get there on whatever gas is in it right now.
What if you could pee in that thing and it'd keep
Let's
going?
see. What is the
Gosh, a 4-door S10 would be the trick, man.
gas?
You boys are sleeping on this Suzuki Samurai, John.
Dude, I
I'm
can't even
not.
think
I'm
I've
just
been in one.
bad. Yeah, thank you. I don't know why I think a Ranger is going to be so much better.
It's slightly better.
Okay.
If it's an extended cab, it is.
Yeah, if you take out the front seat, I don't know how you're getting any more
Well,
room
this
out
is
of it.
This is definitely.
You know, this is quitter talk. I'm gonna find something very extreme that you all will just crucify me
Dang.
over.
The Ranger got 22, according to the internet.
There is no chance that this is not a scam, so I'm going to spend my 1,000 on that scam. So I'm now down to 4,000.
Oh God.
Times 3. Okay, so I'm spending about 500 on gas if I do that. Interesting.
Dang. If he's not even going to bother to say runs good and he's going to say runs pretty good, that's troubling.
Dude, I think I found it. This Ranger I found, you know, it's the classic, you know, if runs good, doesn't have any issues. If that part checks out, you know, and isn't a lie.
You all actually want to make it there. I'm doing the Jeremy Clarkson. I'm gonna find something that breaks down in Alabama, and then
Gosh, we drive south.
Yeah.
Dude, all I'm saying is this dude has side exhaust on his Ranger and some beautiful 3-spoke wheels, like straight out of the 90s. This thing's magic.
That's like the first one you started with.
It
Okay,
is.
the one problem with the Ranger, though, you've not worked out how you're going to sleep.
But
Oh my gosh.
currently I have $1,000 extra.
So you're going to do the hotel route.
Potentially.
Huh, well, fair enough.
$60 a night.
How many?
Gosh,
How many?
Motel things.
getting murdered.
Gonna die of
60
AIDS
bucks
picked
a
up
night
off a
in
towel.
Minneapolis. Golly, fun.
That's rough.
Let's see. What about a
Yeah.
CRV?
What about a yeah?
What about a...
Greatest car ever built.
I
Here's an
I will
Escape
hear no
for
slander.
$1,500. This thing came
I'm
from-
done.
Whoa.
I found my junk.
I found mine.
I don't know what to tell you all. You're gonna hate me because this is just the most Daniel Curtis thing that could happen.
Huh.
All right, I'm done. It
Check
probably
engine
won't
light
make
is
it.
on for EVAP/O2 sensors, which can affect fuel mileage.
Why do you have O2 sensors? You didn't get something carbureted so it'd be miserable and
Oh!
nice in the winter.
I don't know why I expected anything different out of you.
Again, I'm looking at CRVs. Oh my gosh, they want.
Yeah, why is it not carbureted? I ask again. I
That
know
is
plenty of
not a-
people that take fuel injection off in East Tennessee and throw on
Oh
a
my
set of
gosh.
carburetors like it's better.
This is one of those the CRV EX Sport, like the Type R's.
I'm keeping this secret till the end. We're gonna.
So here's a 2004 Ford Escape for $1,500. Says it runs great, but the transmission makes noise.
Oh,
so
dude.
the only issue is you make it halfway there and you buy a new transmission.
Gosh, this is a
He never said you have to make
manual.
it back. You can make it there, leave
on
it,
a wood transmission.
or sell it for scrap, and then take that plane ticket home. Or hitchhike. I don't know what's more successful. You're the kind of guy who wants to get killed, so hitchhiking's probably more your speed.
I don't know why I'm dying. I just wanted some bed
Oh,
buddies.
this has Bluetooth, so I'm good. I'll at least have that.
That's
On
the
the side of the
important thing.
road.
Something to listen to. Okay, yep, I found mine, I think. Because it leaves me enough room
Okay,
for...
are we gonna pass our phones clockwise and just
You think I've actually found
grill each other?
something?
Okay, never mind. Never mind.
This one's actually going to be a little bit fun.
No. Does this thing run?
Probably not, if that's what you're asking.
No motor, no transmission. All right.
I can't. I.
Wait, he's throwing in a little folding table. This is perfect.
Guys,
I'm serious. It's in the pictures.
damn, I found your next Mustang.
What are you doing right now?
God, you're taking a Mustang. Ugh, yeah, that's Daniel's style.
I saw that earlier today. You should have known that already. No wheels, and I was on top of that.
At all.
Hey, speaking of CRVs, mine's about to cross over 270,000.
That's amazing.
Impressive.
Dude, it's the best. All right.
Didn't Mazda make a great car?
Okay, I don't know who to shoot, me or you. Wow. Okay, yeah, I found mine. Cool. It's even a 5-speed, which will be fun.
You say that now.
Yeah.
CRVs are front wheel drive, right?
Or all-wheel drive.
Well, which one's that?
This is an LX. I don't know what year this. I don't know if this would be this. No, this is all-wheel drive. Cool. Cool. Very cool.
How is this thing so bad, yet I'm still looking at it?
So the other thing that we're need to be discussing is you could not get a Ranger up to Alaska.
Sure you could.
Because
No.
it's two-wheel drive?
No, I'm gonna die on that hill. If someone really argues about the Ranger, I don't give you a pass because I just don't think you could do it.
Like,
A 2-wheel drive.
livability or, okay.
Yeah. Well, and that too, that you'd have to sleep in places. Alright, I'm gonna start building my budget on my notes here.
Those are the blurriest pictures I've ever seen in my life.
I don't know what you.
Fairly certain. He didn't want to actually do anything with that. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's.
Here it is, boys.
Oh,
The exact truck I used to own.
oh
A 95,
gosh.
300 straight set.
Is it 2-wheel drive?
Looks like it.
You are not going to make it.
He'll make it. It's called roads. That's fine.
Y'all are kidding yourselves. Forget Canada. How are you going to get through North Dakota?
I don't
You
know
said I'm
what
going
you're
through North
talking
Dakota.
about.
Alright, Zach, that's it. Let's see, 3,600. I'm going to give myself...
Am I about to alter my filter this far into it?
I don't know. I've swapped cars a couple times, and I think I arrived at something horrible that I will end up doing. This looks like the kind of junk I would drive to Alaska. By the amount of oil he keeps in the back seat.
Oh, yeah.
I know I'm arriving in
Yes.
Alaska because
Oh
it
my
does run.
Gosh.
At least he's honest. Let's see, that's a 5-quart, and that's 3 more. So the man has 8 quarts of oil in the back.
Oh, that is your
He
kind of
actually
car.
drives this. That's the only thing I can prove with that.
Okay, how much does a buddy heater cost? Because if you think I'm not sleeping in this thing, you are kidding yourself. I'm getting the big buddy.
This is a mechanic special. As in, he's a mechanic and he lost all his money, and it's ready for me.
Okay, $100 for the buddy heater. I'll probably need $30 worth of propane. We'll have to buy the stupid little cans.
How is this only $1,000?
Windshield wiper relay went out? Well, I'd have to fix that before we went out.
You know, it's always a good sign when all they do is give you an interior shot and don't show you the outside of the car.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know if I'm really wanting to make it or die, because there's a really good possibility I could make it in 2 of the cars I've saved.
So I'm going to call my buddy heater budget $200. Let's see. I need an air mattress.
Oh my gosh.
To take a fake Roush.
Huh. $12.99 a piece. I can buy a backup in case the first air mattress craps out. So $25 for the air mattress.
It's been way too much money. Do I get to keep some of this money if I don't
No.
spend it?
Gosh.
You know how I work.
Oh my god.
I will be miserable to save money.
What if what you save you get? You could make it 5,000 to get there and back.
Mm.
I'm just saying, and then like if you had enough left over, just buy a plane ticket home. Okay, let's see. Air mat. Oh, blankets. I need good, warm, cheap blankets.
This is amazing. This is actually what I'm doing. You're still going to crucify me because it's rear-wheel drive, but that's okay.
So we're just assuming that no real-wheel drive car can make it up there.
I'm not gonna buy that honestly because you can put it in low, and if you buy some knobby tires, I'm gonna say that's gonna do the trick. Now, when I'm doing donuts out in the snow because I can't get up a hill, you all could just laugh or pee on me, but
I think you should have to buy chains if you're gonna do a rear-wheel drive only car.
see. I don't actually believe that.
Well, Five Below has plush blankets for $5 each, so I'm buying 10 blankets, so that's $50.
But I'll buy chains
I'm excited about whatever you're getting.
just to play the game.
So you gotta go price them right quick.
I am.
Oh, wait a second. I've been just spending money like crazy. I haven't actually been keeping up with. Oh no, I'm at $4,700, so I've got $300. Okay,
What did we figure gas was going to cost?
it's 3,600
Depends
miles.
on
So
your-
it depends
Well,
on
I
your
get
age.
that.
Oh, $3 a gallon is what we're assuming.
Okay.
Although that wouldn't be true either, because we have cheaper gas here than anywhere else.
Yeah, but let's just average it out and call it 3.
3, that's fine.
And you said 3,600.
3,600 miles. Oh crap! I've got to do an oil change before I leave because that's 3,600 miles. Brings the grand total to. Interesting. Okay, girls.
Give me the average rundown. What did you end up spending? You got heaters, blankets.
My gas only cost $600. What was your all's?
When I figured it for the Ranger, it was 500, but it was
Nice.
getting 20.
See,
Average.
I gave myself a huge gas budget, so that's funny.
Just on the off chance.
Yeah. So I gave myself $6.75 for gas budget, which is assuming 16 miles to the gallon. But mine's all-wheel drive and a 5-speed, so I won't do as good. And CRVs are amazing for a lot of things. Gas mileage isn't one of them. Okay, so I spent $37.50 buying the car, $6.75 for gas, $200 was my portable heater budget, propane heater budget, $25 for
I had to write them down.
$25 for blankets because Five Below. No. What was
$50 for the blankets because you bought 10.
Yeah, I bought 10 of them and $50 for an oil change. What on earth was the $25?
Mattress.
Oh, that's 2 twin air mattresses from Walmart.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that leaves me $250 to eat and survive on for driving. What I think would be ultimately driving about 4 days.
You don't want to kill yourself trying to do it in like 2.5, 3.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying. Well, I'm just saying that actually it would be more than 4 days, because if you drove 12-hour shifts,
Yeah, that's fair.
which I wouldn't even want to do that. Let's see, if you did 12 hours, it's 2 days, 16 hours, so it's 20. It's 40 hours. So yeah, it'd take 4 days. So the only problem with my plan is like everything has to go well, you know.
Yeah. I think that's pretty true of anything, though.
Yeah, I mean, but you could buy like a $2,000 car and you'd have room to like have stuff go
Really
poorly.
wrong.
Yeah,
How much was your car?
$37.50.
Dang.
You were on the high side.
That's okay. Well, it sounds like you did what I did, which
wanna-
means we'll be
No,
paying
I
out the
didn't,
butt
'cause
as we go.
All right,
Honestly, that Ranger's still the best thing I found. It's the very first car I looked at.
gosh. All right, break it down for us. You want me to get my calculator out?
So the Ranger costs $3,500.
Okay.
It's gonna be the gas breakdown.
You had yourself at 5.
Well, it's actually $490, but I'm assuming
Yeah, we're
some leeway in there.
gonna put you at 5.
Honestly, I would put it at $550
Okay, so
just to
you're at
give
4.
it that much more.
All right, you're at 4,050.
I don't know. I haven't done the rest of my
Oh,
breakdown
okay,
yet.
sorry. Are you gonna try to sleep it, or are you gonna do hotels?
I don't know because I have $950 left,
Yeah.
and we're talking 4 days.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't sleep in the back of it, as cold as it is, without some sort of.
Oh no, but I mean, I don't know what I'm gonna that.
Leave the car running, leave the heat on.
Yeah.
Hope there's not carbon monoxide just piling
Just
in to kill you
sitting
in the night.
upright in a little Ford Ranger, just
You lean the
suffering.
seat back.
you'd
It's
have
an
to-
XL cab.
Well,
Oh, it's an XL cab. You get 2
or you
inches of.
could think of it this way: you take out your passenger seat, no one's riding with you, and
That's
try to
true.
create some space, knock out your back seat, and I mean, yeah, you're sleeping in an L, but it's better than having your
Actually, that's a great idea.
like you could peanut this thing. You could Andrew Benson your man. What did he take to?
That's
was it his
a
Land Rover?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I couldn't sleep like that because I tried to do that going to the beach last fall.
What, setting up or
Just
in,
like
weird
sideways. Yeah, I
stuff?
could not do it.
I had to sleep in the driver's seat of the Elantra because we almost died from sewage gas staying in an Airbnb on our vacation. Rochelle and I did. It was good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I slept in an Elantra, not upright because it leans back pretty far, but it was not comfortable. Did that also on Highway 1 in California.
It's
I'm
terrible.
homeless is what you should really take away from this. Anyone listening, I am just absolutely homeless. So this challenge is easy for me.
My grandmother came shy of cussing me when she found out that we slept in the car at a rest stop on the way to the beach. And I'm like, Mama, that's literally what they build those for. She's like, they're not safe. I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. She's like, you should have got a hotel. I'm like, you gonna pay
How is a
$150?
hotel safer though?
That's what
Like,
I wanted to know. I'm like, I'm not leaving my guitar out in the car. Like, you
Yeah.
know. Anyways. Okay, so.
Okay, so what I have $950 left.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Did you buy change yet?
No. Did you look up chains?
Yeah, so my chains cost me $480, and that's just a set of 4.
Sheesh. Okay.
I didn't even buy a spare. I'm assuming these things hold together.
All right. So take my 480 out. So now I've got
Okay.
what?
Hold on. You got $470.
Okay. That's doable.
You eating on that?
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah, you're gonna be.
flipped.
No, you got to do a breakfast. You got to steal a bunch of stuff and eat on it during the day.
What? No.
Can you pack food from home, or are we not allowing?
Oh no, yeah, you could. Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. I meant like if he
A lot of
stayed
fruit
at
snacks, my man.
if he stayed at a bed and breakfast, he could.
I just steal
No,
them for the
breakfast.
breakfast.
Yeah,
bread.
Just all day long.
Yeah,
How else would we
for
do this,
4
honestly?
days.
And know your freebies. Like, I love pilots because, I mean, that shower's cheap, and I'm going to want that at some point. So
That's true.
like, I'm just talking from a guy who did appraising, and I didn't even go that far, but even going to, well, I went to Florida, I went to Alabama a couple times, like, just being able to stop and shower somewhere when you know you're just pretty much going to stay on the road. Because,
Yeah.
like, the thing was, it was 2 days of travel, so I felt disgusting, but I didn't stay in a hotel, because once I got down there, I did the job, I wasn't going to stay in stupid Florida, so I wanted to come back, so I just cleaned up and kept going.
No, I get it. I cannonballed Tampa Bay one time. Left a burial across Clinch Mountain. Like we were in Treadway, 2 hours from home at like 2.
Isn't it wild how disgusting you feel just driving straight?
But isn't it funny? We used to do such stupid stuff.
Still do.
Yeah.
But then cannonballed Tampa Bay overnight to make it to a noon bowl game.
Good
Yeah.
grief.
Oh, dude, it was rough stuff. Okay, so you got 470.
Yeah. I'm pretty much coming out of this eating crackers for 4 days.
And Welch's fruit snacks.
Yeah.
No, you're not gonna get name brand.
Well, he'll get them from here.
Because at that point,
You're not gonna
you
get
couldn't
name brand
do
with all of
a
them.
hotel.
Yeah, I think
Oh, man.
you're right. I mean, it's not gonna be a fun hotel to be
You
at.
wouldn't want to do the hotel. You can afford that. So at that point, I would get a mattress, which you said is 10 or 15 for a twin.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that blankets another 50.
You know what though? One thing we didn't think about, if you're gonna do the hotel route, you're going to be confined to where hotels are.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's going to be stretches of North Dakota, for example, where you're going to have to stop where the. So you can probably still do it in 4 days. You're just going to have to probably do more driving on one day. You know what I mean? Like there's going to
Right.
be. Dang. Decisions. So you're going to try to. So you got 470 to make it with hotels.
No, I got less than that. Well, or
Oh yeah, you're going to buy a twin to sleep on and
yeah. Let's see.
a tarp to lay over the bed.
No, I'd probably go the route Daniel said and just take that passenger seat out. and just slide the driver's seat all the way forward at night.
Huh.
You could at least wedge the twin back there
Yeah.
if it didn't lay
You
down.
would be a human taco, a very stuffed taco, but
that'd probably be good in the cold.
yeah, you keep your heat.
You do it for the first night, then you get a hotel the next night.
Well, saved enough money to last 3 days in a hotel.
Gosh, that's funny. You could do
Hey.
4 nights in a hotel for $470.
So did you get a car
wouldn't be,
heater
thank
to
you.
make yours livable? A propane?
No, I've got a propane buddy heater.
How much was that?
I budgeted $150 for the heater and the propane because you have to buy the little camper cans.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yours actually sounds sort of doable, Zach. Like, you've got enough money to play with, so if you have an oh crap moment, you hit a Walmart somewhere.
There is one fatal flaw to my plan, and I have to concede that I've forgotten it until just now.
What is it?
The middle seats on a CRV do not fold flush with the cargo portion.
Oh my gosh.
So just take them out before you even leave.
Yeah. Yeah, you're fine, see?
Alright, y'all, yeah.
I mean, we agreed. I took my passenger seat
Sure.
out.
Like, there's gotta be some prep to this, honestly. Because, like,
It's not
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
when you
Oh,
figure
yeah.
out...
I'm going to buy this thing and then driving it.
When you
There's
figure
gonna be
out
prep,
what my
alright.
car is, you're gonna laugh at me, but I'm also gonna tell you exactly what I'm doing to it, so...
Okay, so, alright, so Zach's settled, right?
I think so.
Alright.
Because it leaves me roughly $250 for like food. I mean, you'd have to be pretty stingy with it, but
Yeah.
you could survive on 4 days in that.
I really think that, in all seriousness, I really think that you could just, because these people at these hotels don't care, you could load up on crap from the breakfast. I'm serious.
And at least count your lunch that way.
Yeah. And then just eat Taco Bell.
Ugh.
Don't you want 4 days of Taco Bell in a row while sitting all day?
Yeah, I'm sure my intestines would live after that.
I wouldn't even wear a diaper. I'd just put a hole in my seat and the floorboard and just let it rip.
Just do Randy Benson style. Just like take your seat out and put a bucket with the old toilet seat on it.
That's amazing. Alright.
So I
Zach,
pretty much used every penny, but I got there, I think.
I admire you. That's impressive.
Now, Daniel's going to come in $2,000 under budget.
No, I'm not. You're going to be impressed because I spent money to make this one work. Because I'm all about the car, which means I'm going to die.
Let's hear it.
I found a 1985 Oldsmobile Cutlass
Oh
with
my-
123,000 miles on it.
Can I see a picture?
Yeah, he's actually just rebuilt a lot of it.
Oh my gosh, you're dead.
So
see
it's
it.
$2,800,
Okay.
and
It's got racing seats.
no, it's the stock seats.
Oh, okay, I saw something wrong.
See,
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Gosh,
but-
I like those seats.
yeah, they're pretty bougie. I'd really mess this thing up and make some people mad, but
It's got Indy badges.
mm-hmm.
That's cool.
What's
okay.
cool though is that you've got trunk access through the back. So I could do the old keep my legs in there.
Oh.
So I also understand it's very, very cold. So what I would do to prep this thing is I would put my lower half of my body into the trunk, so my torso could stay in the cabin area, which will probably
So
be
we
warmer.
won't have legs when we're done.
Well, no, because
Hypothermia.
I'm going to pack it with blankets, and I'm use your buddy heater system. That's why I piggybacked off of you, $150 for that.
In the trunk, so he lights the blankets on
No,
fire.
in the cabin, so I stay warm and can monitor it.
Okay.
I'm just saying, all that is very doable. The
Yeah.
chains cost me $480 because it is a rear-wheel drive car. I would change the oil, which is going to be hopefully somewhere in the neighborhood of
About $80.
$100. But let me get the breakdown. Yeah, so the 1985 Cutlass was $2,800. Gas is going to take $6, but I'm allotting for $7 or
Yeah, I was gonna
$7.50.
say,
Chains were $480.
5,
The-
4.
And the buddy heater is $150.
So 4, 150, and then you can buy your blankets and stuff. Heck, you've got enough money though. You could stay in a hotel.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
had more
that's
money than I
actually
did.
sort of the thing. Is like I have not $1,000, but a little under $1,000 of wiggle room.
You know the other thing about a buddy heater though, is that it's gonna be so cold on these cars that you're gonna need it to help thaw these stupid things out to get them back on the road after you
Oh,
park.
absolutely. Well, so that's the other thing is like, would you just leave it running through the night?
No.
Well, depending
I-
on where you're at,
Well,
honestly, if
yeah.
you have to stop, would you really risk not being able to start the car in a situation where someone can't help you for hours and you're in the cold. I mean, like, we're there, but if all three of our cars are dead,
That's the other thing, that if we were going to do it together and somebody was going to stop at hotels, like, you just kind of have to agree to,
be the support.
yeah.
That's wild. Which cars do you think would actually make it, though?
That
I-
Ranger would crap out halfway.
I think the CRV would actually make it. But how many miles were on the CRV?
Just
I didn't-
220.
It
depends on what kind of
Yeah,
220
I know
it is.
that's fair because like you don't know till you
That's
see
only
it
10,000
and
miles
until
a
you
year
change.
because it's a 98.
That's wild, actually.
So that's-
that really is. However, you know that's just how it breaks down as a math guy. That's not how someone actually drove that.
Yeah, that's true, but I'm just, yeah.
Someone drove it 80,000 miles in the last 4 years, 5 years.
No oil changes.
Yeah, good stuff. But I mean, same thing with this Cutlass. He did a lot, like in the description. Okay, it's a 85 Oldsmobile. He misspelled Cutlass, but Indy 500 version.
Your gas
New
changes
tires,
if you leave it
brakes,
running
power
or not.
steering pump,
That's what I was.
battery alternate. Yeah, but
I don't
I
have-
just
Hey, ether's cheap.
yeah, yeah.
I don't have the money to spare to leave my car running for 4 days.
Yeah, no, I get that, but it's also it's more about the charging system though. It's the whole argument about electric cars in the north. They don't have a place
Yes.
because they get drained. I don't care about getting it started on ether. If it was a Model T, I'd crank it over by hand and we'd be fine. But it's not. So you have to real. So do you take your battery out of your car and put it in the
In the
cabin
cabin.
with you
Yeah.
so it stays warm?
Absolutely.
So
Bring
it
it into the
holds
hotel.
charge?
Yeah, excuse me. Sorry.
Well, I mean, sillier things have been done. I mean, think about what Roadkill has had to do to achieve some of their quote-unquote victories.
Nothing they've done has ever been a victory.
It's
I mean,
7:30. I'm gonna get killed.
what's-
How did we go over
What?
so wildly?
Fine.
I thought it was 6 to 7.
That's your wife, man. I don't know. You gotta take that up with her.
Okay, sorry, listeners. We thought this was an hour. It's not.
Well,
It's
we're
a
gonna
lot
edit
more.
some stuff out. It's fun.
we
That?
did not.
Yeah.
We did not start at 6. We've only been recording an hour.
Oh, that's fair.
Which to that point, okay, so
Okay, sorry, yeah. So the CRV is probably making it. You don't think the Ranger's making it?
Only because it has 275,000 miles on it. Honestly,
is
looks
Oh, is it?
not the best.
I didn't actually look at a lot of pictures of it. I
wait,
would
is
be
it the
interested.
3.0 or I mean, what's in it?
It's a 4.0.
Oh, well, that's the most dependable. Is it a V6 Ranger?
yeah.
If it's the V640, those are good.
And
Good
that's definitely
engines.
going to be
They're
one of those
solid.
that it's like it's either going to not be a problem at all, or you're not going to make it like.
Kind of like the
He has
CRV,
no
honestly, if it's
pictures
just not
of the engine
maintained.
bay. He has no pictures of the engine bay though, so you never know
Of course,
what condition that.
To be
4.0 is in.
fair, some people will sit there and spray tire shine on a freaking rag.
This thing has side exhaust?
That's what I said.
You're a freaking
Is
legend.
that chalk paint?
I hope so.
Whatever it is, it's great. This thing actually looks more spacious than I thought an extended cab would.
Okay.
I think you could do that.
One thing I will say, and I'm not like this doesn't matter until the day we really do it, but I will actually. This is how I'm going to say this.
Go for it.
If we really were going to do something like this, which funny enough we really kind of could, not that we should.
We should,
Unless,
though.
well, if we were monetized, then we could make it up on
I'm doing it for a vacation, so I
Okay.
hate my life when I
a
come
very
back to work.
expensive vacation.
I'm spending $5,000 on a vacation. That's not to drive a Ranger.
I was going to say one thing that I would like
Go fund me.
not to be right, but out of genuine concern, I would really fight nail and tooth for you to not expect to be able to sleep in a Ranger for 4 days. Like, I would really fight that fight. Just because I'm like, man, that's, you know.
So would he come sleep in the CRV?
That's true. We could do it that way. Dang, we are all getting blown up. So apparently, our time is coming to an end.
Whoa, I just want to know everyone's
hang on.
genuine take.
Let's get
Would
to the end here.
would the
sorry.
Cutlass make it?
Ah,
Guys, it's the most skeptical one
it
for some
is.
reason.
High risk, high reward.
Yes. It's not even a... It's a dependable power plant.
It is.
Because I think it's a 3.8,
Gosh,
which is a V6
supreme.
that has been in everything.
Supreme.
That has been through multiple car wrecks in the Pontiac Grand Prix and been fine.
That dang 3.8 cost me a date at the zoo.
God. Oh, that's right, in the LeSabre,
That's
yeah.
right, yeah.
That
So, like,
rhinoceros had a
they
good
have a
night.
track
Yeah, I
record of
didn't.
being dependable old people movers. That's about
Perfect
it.
What you
for you.
need, yeah.
It is.
I think that yours would be. I think the trunk access thing is hilarious.
That's him being cheap, though.
Yeah.
And
It is.
it's funny to me because he has the room to probably work out a hotel.
Yeah,
In a pretty decent hotel.
yeah,
But
that is
it's
funny.
funny. I think you would probably be fine.
Because I like misery.
Yeah. You're willing to handle a lot more than I am.
Yeah,
Zach would be busting my windows out, taking that $700 and walking to a hotel. He'd come back in the morning, I'd be an ice cube.
Because he wouldn't
Old
he
wouldn't
Jim,
wait
he wouldn't have left.
old
Yeah.
Jim Sickle, I would have died there.
plot twist: busting the window kept you from suffocating from carbon monoxide poisoning because you fell asleep with the buddy cab running.
Yeah, that's the best. Are there any better ways to stay warm in that scenario?
I'm sure, but I'm sure they cost more.
Yeah.
You think they make a heated blanket that would plug into like a cigarette lighter?
You know what I thought about,
Absolutely.
though?
But do you want to leave your car running, or do you want to
But
just drain it?
Here's what I thought about though. They make power banks that are big enough now. You could just plug it into a
Oh.
power bank and charge it off the
Charge it.
car all day. I thought about that.
That's pretty
that's
smart.
smart
I like
idea.
that a lot better than the buddy heater.
It just
Not like
costs more than.
2 heated blankets so you can lay on one and have one on top of you.
That's right.
That's a ton of heat.
You could also just keep one in your shirt when you're driving.
Yeah.
For people that aren't as fat as me, that probably is a good idea, but I'm like a whale.
All right, so anyone listening, we need I don't know,
We need about
$1,500.
Gosh.
Zach can't do math. We need $1,500. 15 grand?
It's 5,000 a piece.
Oh, I can't do math.
Woo!
It's okay. I made,
Okay.
I made it cheaper than it was, and then I crucified Zach over it.
Pin the donations to me or Zach, not to.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll allocate $1,500 a piece for us to do this, and we'll ride tricycles there, and
Gosh.
the rest of the money will just get
You know what's
Stolen.
funny?
thrown into a mortgage payment.
You know what's funny? If people gave us the money to do it, I would honor it. I would do it.
I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be fine with that.
We could do it.
We
Well,
just need 15 people who really hate us.
to give us $1,000.
Yeah, to watch us suffer.
That's awesome.
Well, time to call Mavic.
Wish I knew who that was.
MAPC.
Oh. Yikes.
Yeah, I was getting a little bit too real.
Well, that was it. The dipstick was watery. The conversation was terrible. We're your hosts.
The burping was incessant. The breathing was loud.
And labored.
But the cereal is gone, so we're done.
Well, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Spotify.
Facebook?
And
Nope.
Apple.
Good.
Nope.
Well done.
Apple.
Stay off the metaverse.
Apple Podcasts.
Oh yeah, we're on Apple these days. That's crazy.
We have one listener.
I'm so impressed with us.
It's me.
Until next time.
Adios.
I'll get a math degree.
If you're still here for some reason, here's one of our rougher outtakes from this episode. And don't forget to follow Water on the Dipstick every other Friday on your favorite streaming service.
And I was struck by how got dog problems. Hey Mo,